But a lot of times where I had the most enjoyment in life, I didn't have shit. So when things go sour in life, like now when I have things, I try to keep in perspective the times when I didn't have shit and I was able to thrive and sleep in heavenly peace.
Roll me Mac.
So what do you collect? I collect books right now. That's probably been like my favorite thing to collect the past few years, past 5 years. For that matter, 6 years now, excuse me. I would say books. Books are definitely something I like to collect. Self-help, self-help, self-improvement, and autobiographies is like what I tend to venture into. My favorite producer, Timberland, that was one of my first books that I got when I really started getting into it. That was on my Kindle. It was a Kindle book. And then from there, it's Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Growth Mindset, the book Mindset by Carol Dweck, about the growth mindset and the fixed mindset, those two concepts. And then just a list of a lot of books, you know what I'm saying, that I would learn about. Books is definitely something that I like to collect. I would definitely say that I collect a gang of hats. I mean, you watch these shows enough to see there's hats galore. You know what I'm saying? But like there's so many hats that I collect in my collection. Shoes, I would say, and more like Oxfords, more grown man shit. You know what I'm saying? Like sneaker stuff was more high school for me. If I do collect any like athletic shoe, it's shoes that I wanted when I was growing up, and really just to have it, just to have it. May wear it out maybe once or twice or something like that. But for the most part, it'd just be the Oxfords, like Oxfords, Schaefer boots, and like the grown man shit, pretty much. Magnets is something that I collect, and that is thanks to my mother. My mother had a very decent sized magnet collection. Anybody that knew me growing up, they would come by the house. I'm sure if you remember, the refrigerator mom would always have a lot of like magnets on there. But I think I've definitely trumped her in size as far as magnets go for the fridge. But you dig, it's still it's just something to do. It's like almost like me paying homage to my mother for showing that to me, exposing me to that. And speaking of paying homage to parents, my father with music. So my music collection is very extensive, and here and in the physical sense. Before we switched to streaming, that is, there was a lot of CDs. I'm talking about CDs, like on top of CDs, on top of CDs. Like so many CDs that in my collection that I had. Even tapes, when I was in high school and middle school, I was collecting, cassette tapes. Singles, used to go to Walmart, get the singles. I had Freak Nasty the Dip. I had Coolio, Gangsta's Paradise. I had SWV, Use Your Heart, and You're the One. It was like a side A, side B thing. I had, what else we had? New Edition. I had New Edition on tape. I had The Boys, Down in My Heart on tape. I had New Kids on the Block on tape. I had Ninja Turtles in concert on tape. I had a lot of stuff on tape. You know what I'm saying? Like I really wish I still had that Ninja Turtle tape. That's for damn certain. That'd be an eBay classic right there. Yeah, pull in a lot of money. But like a lot of tapes, a lot of CDs, DVDs galore. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of DVDs. Blu-rays a little bit too. When Blu-rays first started hitting, really around Avatar. Once Avatar came out, so like 2009 was when Blu-rays was like starting to gain ground, and then streaming came like a couple of years later and kind of canceled all that disc stuff, and we ended up with streaming, and Netflix took over and kind of canceled out going to Blockbuster because we can get everything right there before us. So books, CDs, movies too. Same thing. Paying homage to my father. A lot of movies growing up, movies that he wouldn't have the time to watch, but felt the need to have them in the house. And I mean, it's great for a kid that don't got no damn job like Tommy. During the summertime or after school. But yeah, it was a lot. There was a lot to choose from, and like I said, hats, books, music, movies. I would say trading cards too. That's like something I would do a couple years ago. Every time I would go to Orlando, I would stop into Dollar Tree and just pick out, a pack of basketball cards or NFL cards and kind of just store them away, and until a later time where they might become something really worth it. And I'm sure there's a lot going in those things. So we'll see. Rookie cards, stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, as far as collection goes, cologne too. Cologne, definitely love my smell goods. It's pricey. Some of them can be very pricey, but for a good reason. They tend to linger a lot longer and carry a strong sensual scent. Like whenever you pass through, stuff like that. It's great for before you go to the gym. It's great for you at work. Great on a date. All that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like just wanting to constantly get that smell good in it. And aviator shades. I have a lot of those. Definitely collect a lot of aviator shades. And yeah, like I said, I love those. I love fashion. In every sense of the word, at least the fashion that works for me. I try to be original. Don't get me wrong, I get inspired by stuff, but I don't try to walk around and I don't try to wear shit to fit in. I wear what I feel comfortable in, if you will. And watches too. That's another thing. Collect a lot of that stuff. And I think the next thing I'll probably get into is probably paintings. Yeah, definitely paintings. And I like to get into collecting paintings, but that's pretty much what I like to collect in my spare time.
Yo, real quick, I just need you guys to like, comment, and subscribe to this episode as well as this channel.
What's a time when you were genuinely happy in life? A time when I was genuinely happy in life, when I cared to be happy, or maybe just looking back at it, I'm able to recognize happiness. More than likely would be summers at my grandma's house. Is a time where I was genuinely happy. I was too young to understand anything that was going around me that may have been toxic or may have been some fuck shit going on, but like my grandma's house was Disneyland, Disney World for me. In many ways, it was an escape. I used to get excited because I would be with my cousins. One cousin in particular, my cousin Richard. Love you, bro. And there was just so much, that little brother, big brother you look up to. You just wanted to emulate everything he did. You just thought it was so cool. And that's really what I wanted to do. I was trying to learn how to become a man, boy, teenager, whatever, and learn from my peers around me, and not just my cousin Richard, even my cousin Corey and Dougie too. And you know what I'm saying? Like that was the makeup of us. And even my cousin Brandon too. Like we would be around each other. And we have influences on one another in different ways. But my grandma's house was like literally an arcade for us. But that's all we did. All we did was play video games from sun up to sundown. And you always had something to laugh at. You heard great music. You got to, well, I mean, you know, my little spoiled ass at the time. I mean, from the stories I hear about me crying and shit, there was a lot of getting your way. You couldn't say much to me without being, you know, very sensitive, you know, a very entitled little boy. You know what I'm saying? But that's how I was raised at the time. And but it was cool because you never knew who was gonna come through. It literally is like watching a TV show and you just see random people come through, random family members and friends that practically family. You know what I'm saying? Like they like who was like I don't know, older sister, whatnot. To me was like Mimi. Mimi would come through, Nug. They would slide, you know what I'm saying, would come by and say hi to my grandma. And you know, and I would be able to wave across the street to their parents, Miss Penny, R.I.P. Miss Penny. And then same thing with Mr. Dave across the street. Rest in peace to Dave. And I mean, there's so much history in Salisbury for me, and it's you know, sometimes I look at life and I just really think about the joys the times where I had the most joy. I had nothing. I didn't have a car. I didn't have a house. I mean, my parents had a house, but not me. But a lot of times where I had the most enjoyment in life, I didn't have shit. So, you know, when things go sour in life, like now when I have things, I try to keep in perspective the times when I didn't have shit and I was able to thrive and sleep in heavenly peace because all I had was the joy of being a kid. I had family around, you know, I had comedy. Yeah, there was hazing. We did a lot of that shit, but that's just how we love. Not a healthy form of love, but it is love nevertheless, you know. And seeing different styles of foods, especially like Maryland food. I remember being young and seeing crabs try to crawl out of the pot. I remember learning how to eat crabs with my grandma, my mom, and my aunts sitting at the table and telling you to avoid eating like the female eggs and shit inside the crab. And I was just like, well, why don't we just get them snow crab legs? Because they bigger, more meat. You know, that's why, I always like snow crabs versus them little shits. I'm not really a fan of that. Now, if you going to use all that meat and make crab cakes, then we can talk turkey. But the parties, you know, whenever we used to have cookouts, the little kid bin with the jugs and the Kool-Aid burst drinks in it. And then you had the sodas, and then of course you got the beer for the grown folks. And yeah, there's just so many, like, I mean, it's caught on tape too, so I'm able to see some of the movies in my head. But that was a time when I would say I was genuinely happy. And it seemed to me that everyone else was as well. But you learn so many things as you get older, and there's different perspectives as far as looking back to that. But I mean, it was just a time. It was a time to be alive. Music, you know what I'm saying? Like the music that we would play. I'm talking about surefire hits from the 80s and the 90s being played at these establishments, these cookouts that we would have. And I enjoyed just being, like I said, being a kid, playing in the front yard, trying to follow my cousin down the street to play basketball. And his skill level was far greater than mine. But I was always behind him, you know, he always had my back in the neighborhood. And I love him for that, forever. So, you know, I generally will do the same for him because of that. And any other, like, you know, family member for that matter that was under me, just to show that type of care and that love. We may not talk at all. We may not talk throughout the year. We might not talk throughout the years, but there is there's a sense of protection that I carry on those that I value in my life. Now, certain energy I'm not able to be around, but best believe that there's a level of protection that is there innately. Something I really just it's like an instinct to do it, if you will, to try to protect those cousins that you grew up with, my little brother, and who's grown now. It's not, it's always going to be my baby to me, but he's a grown man. But there's that level of protection that's going to be there. But we had good times. We did. We truly did have great times at Grandma's house. I appreciate the care she took for me when I stayed there in the summers. I appreciate her allowing me to stay up running her fucking electric bill. I appreciate just my cousins and their contribution to all these memories that we have, man. I miss them. I do. Yeah, I miss them. I miss the memories. I miss them physically. I wish the way that we were, how close it felt that we were. But life happens, man, and you move on. Everybody goes down in different paths in life. But at the end of the day, it's all love. It's all love. Name a TV show theme song for each decade for the last 40 years. So 40 years, that would be what? 80s, 90s, thousands. Sounds weird saying this shit. And the 10s. For me, the 80s theme song that I hear is Growing Pains. As long as we got each other. 90s theme songs that stands out to me. How you living? What? How you living? What? How you living? And of course, it never sounds right when people try to imitate that fucking theme song, but definitely Martin's number one, and Home Improvement, and Simpsons, Eat My Shorts, Bart, saying shit like that. Let's see, 2000s. In the 2000s, I was doing more work than anything, but I would go with probably Jamie Foxx show. But then, yeah, Jamie went through 2000, so I'm gonna call that one. It's all I need, the simple thing. Like that version of the Jamie Foxx show, I love that one. And in the 10s, of course, the piano intro, the piano, what's the shit? What other instrument for The Office? Forever. So, you got my favorites in there. Martin, The Office. I just loved Jamie Foxx, the intro. His shit was always so dope. But, for TV theme songs, those songs stand out to me. I'm sure there was so many that you could think of for like the 80s and 90s, 2000s and 2010s. But for the quickie, that's what she said. That's what I came up with. How do you repair a relationship with a family member you were once close with? This is a nice segue. That was a nice segue, the previous one to this. I would think that, I mean, for me, with a lot of the time I've spent alone and the times I spent in therapy and just understanding my own emotions, understanding the pain that of feeling like you weren't heard and feeling like your shit didn't matter, is to let go of that shit. Number one. That's number one. And it starts with you learning to let go. Letting go of anything that you felt was done to you, that you felt wrong, that you feel entitled to an apology or whatever before you decide to love. The only love that you control is yours. I mean, I'm learning that more and more as I get older. And like the letting go and you know, there's that entitlement that comes. So especially family. We take family for fucking granted. The fact that they're gonna be there, we believe that they're gonna be there, they're gonna show up, but they're literally just humans, you know. And the pedestals that we put some of our family members on is asinine, and I'm definitely someone that has done that, someone that has been put on pedestals, and I like to look at people as just human. But there's unresolved shit that you want to really heal from in your own way. You don't want to be caught up in the bullshit, you know, that consumes your mind. The inner child battles. Those battles have been won a long time ago, or lost a long time ago. But present day, it's just it doesn't matter, man. But their inner child is constantly screaming to be seen, to be heard, and you want to get rid of those, right? You want to get rid of those feelings that come up. They're merely just that. They're feelings. You know, they come and go. You know, emotions will come and go. 1 minute we feel joy. 1 minute we feel sadness. 1 minute we feel anger. Some minutes we feel a lot more anger. Some hours we feel anger. You get the point. But like, there's many emotions that come about, and some of us really don't know how to manage that shit. And the way we know to manage that is through unleashing pain, unleashing hell on one another. We say foul shit to someone to get under their skin, and truthfully, it only hurts us, man, because if they don't accept it, it comes right back to us. A lot of us got insecurities, so when someone says some foul shit to us, we feel the need to respond to it, or rather react to it versus respond. And if you don't say anything, if you act indifferent, it goes like, it really just goes back to the sender. It's a return to sender thing. But it's hell trying to manage, because you just want to prove part of us just wants to be right. We want to correct ourselves. We want to defend ourselves. Anything we attach ourselves to, we want to defend it. And a lot of it doesn't even need any form of defense, just to taking it all. But I think it starts there with us. I think it starts with you wanting to better yourself, so that you can respond to conflict a little bit better than you might have displayed in previous years. So I say that. I definitely say being having a better response to conflict, and taking that leap. Somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to do it. It doesn't really matter who does it. It doesn't matter who starts it. It's about how we finish. If we can put aside egos while we're still breathing, while we're still alive, we can mend some of these relationships. Or are we willing to have these conversations? Because our perspectives might not be the same as far as like how we saw a certain situation. And apologizing genuinely doesn't make you weak. If you truly mean it, if you're truly apologizing for what you didn't know, it would go so far with a lot of family members, namely parents to children. For a parent to apologize to their child for what they did not know and how they treated them at a point in time, you don't understand what that would do for your relationship to see that. You know what I'm saying? for a child who caused hell to a parent and maybe other family members when they were young and dealing with some shit mentally and didn't know how to deal with it. Like, for a child to have that in them to apologize is it's the same. I believe it's the same effect for that of a parent. And I throughout my life, I know I've recognized some things in me to be able to go back and apologize to my parents about those things, the way I carried myself. Though for me not understanding why you wanted to do this thing, why you tried to keep me out of this particular crowd, why you kept us in the church, even though church also has its adverse reactions, and I stand by that. But it did keep us away from a lot of things that we could have gotten into based off family history and, you know what I'm saying, on both sides, on both sides of the family. But grateful, forever grateful for that. But trying to repair a relationship with family you were once close to. Get over your fucking ego, man. Get over your fucking ego, Rome. And whoever else, fill in the blank, get over your fucking ego, Pookie, or whatever, Boo Boo, whatever your family nickname is. Get the fuck over yourself, get the fuck over your ego, and apologize. Or, be willing to listen to someone if they come genuinely with that. But an apology that turns into, but I would only did it because, no. Apologize unapologetically. No, that's not right. Shit. Apologize unconditionally. Apologize unconditionally, not apologize unapologetically. But, like, seriously, apologize unconditionally. Nothing behind it. You're not looking for anything in return. You only control the love that you give, and try to work at things and look at things in the present moment. A lot of us are still stuck in the past on some shit, and it's killing us. It's dragging us down. It's keeping us from flying. It's keeping relationships from happening. Years are going by, days are going by, months are going by, and you and that family member are not in contact with one another based off of your own ego or their ego or your ego, or you know what I'm saying, like both individuals involved egos or one side, and being able to just discuss things like adults, if we can figure out how to do that without responding emotionally, and just come to a conversation with no entitlement, no expectations, and no ego, we can improve. We really can. But being able to listen to someone when they share, how they felt. Are you willing to accept that? That's another thing. That's another way of trying to amend that relationship. Are you willing to allow a person to express themselves without you taking it personal? Regardless if it's about you or if it's something you did, don't take it personal. It's that person's view of that situation. And a lot of us ain't built for that shit. You don't want to hear anything bad about yourself that you've done to someone. And our egos are real. Our narcissism is real. A whole bunch of toxic things that prevent us from having these healthy relationships with family. They get in the way, and they're very real. But I do hope that anybody that's watching this, anyone that's listening to this, I definitely send you and your family positive and healing energy in hopes that you're able to mend these issues before anything happens to either one of you, and that you don't sit with any, regret or, anything. Don't try to make an individual's death about you, but living with the fact that you put it all out there. You gave it your best. You put it all out there to make that relationship thrive, if you want to. Because don't get me wrong, you definitely got to protect your peace. You got to have healthy boundaries with certain energies. Like, energy is very real for me. It's very important to me. So how I feel when I'm around you will dictate how long I stay around you. And I don't doubt that people change, people evolve. I've done it. I've definitely evolved, so I believe others can. I've seen people that were once hellions turn into people of peace. And so, I mean, evolution can happen for us all. But I say all that to say, get over yourself. Get over your ego. Good night, kids.